It is always stupid to make predictions in football because, let's be honest, they're never right. And that's especially true when you barely know the teams. For example, if we talked about the teams that have just come up from League One, I don't know anything about Portsmouth, couldn't tell you a thing about Oxford, and all I know is I don't like Derby very much. And it's even more true when you're further away, either distance or time, and you've got absolutely no context. And that would mean it would be the stupidest thing possible to make predictions about an entire season of football before pre-season had even started. So, hi Evie.
Hi.
We had a really clever idea, didn't we?
Yeah, let's be stupid.
This is predicting a bit of football way too early, and I think what we should do is, whether it's at Christmas or the end of the season, I think we should revisit these and think, are we quite as wrong as we think we're probably going to be?
Yeah,
Yeah,
regretting it already.
you seem really confident.
Yeah, I am completely confident.
Absolutely, I'm getting all these right, every single one. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Oh, my reputation amongst like 4 people who think I know things stupidly is just dead. Anyway, so let's start with some of the more predictable ones. We'll go really, really short term to start with. Give ourselves a nice softball. I say softball. This also, we're not getting this one right. Who's winning the Euros?
Do I go with my heart or with my head?
Go with your lungs.
Um, Now the irony is that my heart isn't actually saying England.
I did think
My
that'd be the case, to be honest. Yeah.
my heart is saying I really want Georgia to win. I would love Georgia to win. I watched the game against Portugal. Well, I've watched all of Georgia's games, and they've just been incredible. So I would love the romantic side of me wants Georgia to win. The more logical side probably says Spain.
I think if I'm actually predicting and saying who I think will do it, I think I'm also going to land at Spain. But there is a little bit of me that's like, maybe England's players just sort of say for a moment, actually, I do give a little bit of a shit, and will start actually trying to play football at some point. I don't know whether
Mutiny.
that's actually going to happen. Mutiny, yeah. A full on coup. I mean, admittedly, my football manager stream earlier couldn't win the Euros, but they didn't do a coup against me. They might do it against Southgate. We'll find out. So we both
Well,
basically sing, come?
that's your peak, is that your players didn't have a coup
Yeah,
against you. That's how
yeah.
you're a successful manager, because your players didn't mutinize against you.
They got to the final, to be fair.
All right, well, that's fair
It'll
enough.
do. It's
Yeah.
not too bad. And it was Portugal, so that's going to be a bit of a that. Sorry, I'll go with that. Portugal winning the Euros. They're going to beat us in the final.
Oh, God, no. We'd have to deal with another Ronaldo wink.
You want to know the worst bit?
What?
Bruno Fernandes didn't even get to score. Didn't even get to be smug. I think he laid on both assists though, which was a little bit of a pain.
Who did score?
Ruben Diaz got one from a corner. Might have been
I
João
don't mind
Felix
Ruben.
getting the other one, but that's because I changed to a 2-4-4 because I was quite desperately in need of a goal in the 95th minute or something silly like that. And I was like,
Wow.
sod
Channeling
it,
your
John
inner
Stones.
Saka.
I just put John Stones at the back with Calvin Phillips, and I was like, this'll do. You can both defend ish, be
Did
fine.
Phillips give away a penalty or something?
No, they just scored stupidly late. It was, I think Phillips scored an absolute screamer in the semi final. Anyway, aside from all that, I'm going to go Portugal. Are you still going with Spain?
I'll go with Spain, yeah.
Going with Spain. Okay, a little bit more domestic, a little bit more long term. Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup winners. What we got?
Premier League. Hmm. Premier League. Oh, wow. It depends how Slot, like, whether he hits the ground running, whether Diaz stays, whether Salah stays. There's a lot of potential upheaval at Liverpool this summer. So I don't think it's going to be them. Logical part and annoying part and kind of sports washing part of me says it's Man City. But I would prefer Arsenal to win. But it would be funny if Arsenal for the third year on the trot came
Just
to the
bottled it
last,
right at the end.
last 2 games of the season and bottled it. Surely, if he bottles it again, Arteta, does he stay or does he go?
I think you consider the version of Arsenal that he inherited, and you've got to say even if he bottles it on the last day, he's still consistently up there rather than not even getting into Europe. So I think he's probably fine.
So I'm not saying that I like the man because I don't.
Oh no.
You could argue Ten Hag has been a better, if you're looking at trophies, manager for Man U than Arteta has for Arsenal, because Arteta won an FA Cup, what, 6 years ago now? I can't remember off the top of my head. I probably should have looked that up before I blurted it out. But Ten Hag back to back has won Carabao Cup and the FA Cup.
Isn't the Carabao Cup just like a shinier Papa John's at this point? It's not. It's not.
But if we won it, would we be saying that?
Oh,
right
but that's
now?
a bit different, though.
Yeah,
That's
but
very different.
a trophy is a trophy. You kind of almost don't look at what the trophy is when you're looking in the cabinet. It's when you're seeing an empty
Yeah.
space, then you kind of think, oh, look at what we could have won.
I think the only thing that I'm going to say that sort of backs me on Ten Hag being a horrific manager.
Oh, he is. His football is awful. I'm not trying to say he's a good football manager or anything like that. It's just, if you were to look at pure trophies, in the cabinet over, considering he's had 2 full seasons.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because he was there for the year that we got relegated and then this year. So yeah, he's had 2 full seasons. He's dealt with quite a few kind of people not wanting to play for him as well. Now that could be his own doing, to be fair.
He
But
has also wanted someone to play for him who should never play football again.
which one? There's several of them.
That would be the thing.
Are you talking
Because
fidget spinner?
he's one of them. The one where if I say what happened, I will probably get libelled is
Has he moved to
another
another
one.
country?
He happened to go to Spain, but there's also the one that went to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them being sort of, and surely a part of management is dealing with the people under you, and the fact that at no point you was like, right, okay, that's not on. It was also that squad, and you're taking them to a negative goal difference is a bit weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. So I think Arsenal. I'm going to go Arsenal for the Premier League because I just don't want City to win it, because for as much as we all like to say the Premier League's the best league in the world, it's basically a Bundesliga at the minute, because it's just one team winning the league pretty much every year. I know they didn't win this year in terms of Bayern Munich, but
they came third, I think.
Yeah, they did. They did terrible for their standards. But yeah, I'm going Arsenal because let's go for someone different. And I just don't think Liverpool can get themselves together in time to actually. I think they're going to do a bit like what we've done this year. There's going to be so much upheaval still going into the beginning of the season that I think they're going to. What was it? You can't win the title at the end of August, but you can.
But you kind of lost it.
But you can lose. Yeah, you can lose it by the end of August, essentially, and that's, I think, is what's going to happen to Liverpool. Villa, I think there's too many. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of ins and outs to do with FFP and things like that, and the squad depth. Obviously, they've got Champions League football this year. I just don't think they're going to be. I think they'd be lucky if they got top 4 again, Villa, and that's not me having a slight at Villa. I actually quite like them, but I just don't think they've got the squad depth to do the league and try and be successful in Europe as well. So yeah,
because they've not had the time of that revenue and using it to invest in an actually deep squad. So I think beyond that first 11, it gets a little bit stinky.
yeah.
Maybe Emery
Agreed.
can do some Emery things, but I don't really see it, to be honest with you.
Is Weston going there? Because I'd seen quite a few rumours of him being like a swap deal for. Oh gosh, who
Yeah,
was it?
it
Douglas
was
Louise?
for Douglas Luiz. Yeah, it was Weston McKennie and someone else. But the last I saw, Weston McKennie's sister, who plays for Juve's women's team, was also going to go the other way. But apparently there was an issue with that bit of the deal, and that meant that Weston didn't necessarily want to go, or something weird like that. But
Right.
it's all very messy and fuzzy. I think for mine, I'm gonna, because I don't like this club, but I genuinely feel like they might have an actual chance of, based on the end of season form they had, like winning something this season. I'm gonna maybe say Chelsea for the Premier League as a really outside shout. I don't want them
Wow.
to. I would prefer an Arsenal, but
Wow. Oh
that's
no, no, we can't have that. I
I
can't
don't
allow
want
you
it.
to even have that. No, because
I don't want
Maresca,
it.
I can't have Maresca
Oh,
winning
never mind.
Championship
No. Yes, good
and
point.
Premier
No,
League.
sorry. I forgot they have Maresca. For a moment there I was like, they've still got Poch, right? And he got them
No,
to a
no,
decent
he
run of form. No, they
left.
don't. Okay. Sod that. Chelsea don't get Europe. Um
I'm glad you've seen sense. That would have been a stupid prediction.
because I want to get one of these right, I'm going to go Man City for Premier League and FA Cup, with the League Cup going to. This is where I'll get a bit weird. Crystal Palace. Why not?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I haven't done FA Cup or League Cup. I think FA Cup. FA Cup, I think Liverpool, because I think he'll want to do something. If the league is out of contention, I think he'll want to do something. And also, it's an easier way to secure at least some European football if they do have a drop off in the league and they're struggling a bit. Look at Man U, for instance, they won the FA Cup. They weren't going to get European football and then won that instead. So, yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool for FA Cup. I'm going to go.
Go Spurs. Why not? If you
No.
get it right, it'll be incredible. If this is
All
the
the
year.
Spurs fans would love me because we're like, she had faith in
She
us.
did it.
No, no, I don't. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for, because they were robbed last year of a final. I'm gonna go Coventry City.
Oh, to win the League Cup.
Yeah.
That's a big ol' shout. And you know what? Fair enough. Why not? And at the
They're
other
away
end,
at Bristol, I think, for their opening their Cup, Carabao Cup game. I
that's
think because
fine enough.
the fixtures got released, didn't they, today?
Yeah. Weirdly, I hoped that we'd have someone that was like really bad. I was like, maybe we'll get like, I don't know, who's sitting at the bottom of League Two. Either someone really bad or like a Wrexham, because I don't think the Disney audience will be able to handle Leeds fans. I don't
Yeah,
think they'd do
at
that very
Ellen
well.
Road. Yeah, imagine that. You'd have Ryan Reynolds, and then you'd have like, you know, people shouting, you only came to see Firpo and things like that. Like he wouldn't get it, kind of thing.
I like the
I
idea
don't
of
think
Larry
Wrexham
Nance and
are
Will Ferrell
aggressive.
making him cry, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I'd quite like that actually.
And then we're going to the other end of the Premier League. It was going down.
Oh, now I think that's going to be more exciting than the top of the table, to be honest.
It always is.
Because, yeah, although
Yeah.
it wasn't this year because they were just so bad that even with 3 separate points deductions to 2 teams, that it was still obvious
It
who
did
was going
nothing.
down.
Yeah.
No. So, what are those creatures that can survive a nuclear war, like a nuclear bomb? Are
Cockroaches?
cockroaches? Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like Everton are just the football embodiment of a cockroach because they just survive. I would love for them to get relegated. I'd love to like wave to Jack Harrison's mum.
Just on the way past as well, on the way up.
Yeah, as we're on the way up, kind of thing. I'm gonna go Leicester.
Think I agree on Leicester. Yeah. because
I'm
just not that fond of them right now.
No,
And
I'm
Steve
not.
Cooper.
I never had a problem with Leicester before the last season when it came to light that they'd managed to stay up. Well, not stay up, but gain a place on us. And they didn't even cheat correctly, kind of thing. At least Everton had cheated and managed to stay up. But yeah, so Leicester. I think Brentford are in trouble, if I'm honest, because they're not going to have Tony. They were poor this year. They managed to regain a little bit of form near the end of the season, but any other season they would have been struggling. So I'm going to have Brentford just scraping by. I'm going to have... my heart says Ipswich are going to do a Leeds of 2021 and stay up, but my head says you cannot concede that amount of goals in the Premier League. You just can't, because teams don't allow you to fight back. We've seen that.
Yeah. As the stat that I like rolling out against one of our favourite chatters in the live streams is that they conceded as many as Sunderland last season, who finished 16th in the Championship. They won't have plot armour in the Premier League. It's not going to work.
And for as much as Leif Davis was good, he wasn't defensively good. He was just a younger Firpo kind of thing in terms of really good going forward, clearly, but not defensively all that. And if you're poor in the Championship, God help you in the Premier League. So yeah, I'm going to go Leicester, Ipswich. I think Southampton will stay up. I don't think they're going to have an issue. I don't think they'll have Russell Martin by the end of the season, but I do think they'll stay up. Who else struggled this year? Oh, Forest. I'm going to say Forest are going to go down, because I just think Everton will avoid it yet again. I would love them to go down, but I just think they'll avoid it. So Leicester, Ipswich. I think Forest at the bottom, then Ipswich, and then Leicester in 18th again.
Okay. I think I'm going to go Ipswich bottom, because that too much of that squad is still League One-y for me. They've not had a chance to rejuvenate absolutely everyone, which is not really good enough. I'm going to go Leicester 19th, but the reason I'm putting Leicester 19th is because the position above them, I think, would be absolutely hilarious if they go down on the last day of the season. I would like to see Everton relegated on their final match at Goodison Park. Just because it would be
I would happily be wrong
delicious.
if that was the case. I would happily be wrong.
Lovely little bit of Schadenfreude. And on the subject of Schadenfreude, we were the target of lots of it. The Championship. Yay. So I know so little about this season's Championship outside of our own club. We're going to get to Leeds in a few minutes, but let's just zap through the Championship first. Who's going up automatically?
Leeds as champions, obviously.
Of course, agreed.
To be honest, for as much as that sounds cocky, I genuinely don't think we've got an excuse not to win this season. If we got 90 points last season, all depending on centre-backs and Somerville replacement, because Somerville was involved in like 34% of our goals, something along those lines. So we have to replace him, or if we manage to convince him to stay, fine. But yeah, we have to replace him. So if we caveat that with we've got good replacements and centre-back options and actually a number 10, then I think we win the league. I think I'm just going to look at who else is actually there.
I think in terms of my... Go on.
I think Luton could go up automatically. I think it is going to be one of... it won't be Sheffield, in my opinion, because United. Because I know it's only -2 and you can get that back within one game kind of thing, but
it's still -2. Which...
Yeah, you're still starting on a negative, which is never a good way to start a season. And they're going to have to sell in order to not have another points deduction next season. So Yeah, I don't think it's going to be them, but I think Burnley, they still don't have a manager though, actually. So that's quite,
No,
because Van Nistelrooy, I think, is going to end up going as Ten Hag's assistant manager potentially to
I
Man
thought it
U.
was technical direct. He's going to do something
Oh,
over
is it?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere over the wrong side of the Pennines. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going us top, Luton second.
We'll get to playoffs in a moment.
Oh, okay, that's automatic. Yes, done it.
Okay. I'm also going to go as top, and I'm going to go a little bit weird again for my second one. I think, having looked at the manager they've hired, Norwich genuinely could do something this season. Because under David Wagner, who no one particularly liked, they were quite good anyway. And
Yeah.
now they've got someone that people like and does interesting things with the ball. I think they'll be a little bit more fun to watch, but we'll also get some more results. And looking at the teams that came down, the fact that there was no question about any of them getting relegated last season is a little bit telling to me that, like, I don't know if they bounce right back up. I don't think they've got that in them, to be honest with you. But playoffs, who were you leaning?
I think it depends who starts well. And I know playoffs, you don't have to start well. You can actually have a pretty crappy season and still stumble into playoffs. But the mentality in order to win it, I'm going to say Middlesbrough.
I'm a little bit mad because you've stolen my Middlesbrough shout. I'm thinking
Oh,
Burnley and Luton also get in there. They're also part of that conversation.
yeah.
I think maybe Burnley, Luton, and I can see Sunderland maybe doing something because, again, they've hired a quite exciting, fun new manager.
What about West Brom?
I don't know. Because as much as
Because,
a bit of me wants to think that, yeah, they were good with Corberan last season, I don't know how sort of long-term sustainable playing like that is, relying on some quite good finishing and quite good like individual defending.
yeah, I know this may sound controversial, but I kind of don't get the hype around him because I don't think his football's attractive. I don't, it's effective, but it's not attractive. And
Yeah.
he also has failed with two different teams to get through the playoffs
Yeah.
in, was it not back to back year? Was it back to back years? No, not back to back.
But close enough. Like
Yeah,
not a
within
huge
the
gap.
last few years, because it was it Hull or Huddersfield? No, it wouldn't have been Huddersfield.
Huddersfield, I feel
Was it Huddersfield? They got
maybe.
to the playoffs, didn't they? In
I cannot believe I'm having a Google Carlos Corberan of all people. Ba, ba, ba. I know he's been to Olympiacos because that's the one on his about on Google. Give me a moment. With the like attractiveness thing, I think that might be more of a symptom of how sort of recent we are as fans. It looks like it was Huddersfield
yeah,
because he's been at West Brom since 2022. But like considering that we both became bigger fans during like the Bielsa times, I feel like we're a little bit more naturally attracted to. Oh, this is fun to watch rather than like this just gets results, which can
yeah.
be bland and Big Sam flavored. And no, thank you.
Oh dear, we can't mention Big Sam again. It gives me shudders.
Okay, we'll go with the Gravy Man from now on.
Okay.
So with those being our sides going up with the playoffs, so going up, you've got Leeds, Luton, Borough. I've gone Leeds, Norwich, Borough. Am I right in those?
Yeah.
Who's going down? Who isn't staying in the Championship?
Oxford.
Agreed on that one.
Hmm. I'm going Plymouth. because they literally just stayed up on the day before the last game, like the game before the last game. I think it was almost impossible I think they had to have like a 9-goal swing in order for Huddersfield to stay up and for them to go down. So yeah, I'll go up Plymouth. Oxford. Now, Stoke and QPR were both around the plug hole for most of the season last year. You're welcome, QPR, for that 4-0 win. But it really depends how Sheffield United start. I'm genuinely worried that they're in a spiral. I know that sounds wild, but I'm genuinely worried because they're going to have to sell like their best players in order to not break.
But look at the league.
I know, but people are a bit like when they play Leeds, they're probably going to up their game a little bit because everybody loves to see a failure, and they went up and they didn't just fail, they conceded the most goals in Premier League history. So like it wasn't just they got relegated, they got absolutely eviscerated in the Premier League, and that momentum can continue the following season.
We're thinking they go full Sunderland then.
Yeah. And logic says Stoke. Wild card. I'm going to go Sheffield United. And I'm going to be like a you heard it here first kind of thing when they're circling around the plug hole.
I think for me, Oxford I don't know if they've got the quality for it. Plymouth, I think I agree because they wouldn't have Morgan Whittaker probably. And I want to say Blackburn because I can't see them holding on to Schmodix, and he scored like every goal for them.
That's a really good shout.
And he scored, let's have a look. He scored 27 goals for them and they got 60 all season.
Yeah.
So take him away and they are the lowest scoring team in the league. Which, bit horrific, to be honest. Not very good. On the subject of Smodix, who we think will not be at Blackburn, who's getting the Golden Boot? This is where I, for mine, have just plucked a name out. I've thought it just at random. Not at random, but...
The problem is I don't know. I refuse to acknowledge all of the other teams because I don't want to be here. So therefore,
we don't want to be too invested in it.
Yeah, I don't want to, and there's a lot of teams. So like, I don't want to know all of these players because I don't want that information to just be floating around in my head, not actually having a purpose. I think. So you had Schmodic was the top scorer. Then Somerville was up there as well, wasn't it?
Somerville was not like third,
top 5, wasn't? Yeah, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Who's number 2 then?
I think it was Schmodix, Adam Armstrong, Somerville, Vardy.
Yeah, so at least obviously it's not Adam Armstrong because he's at Southampton.
Wait, Somerville was equal with Whittaker. So Somerville was
if
equal.
Somerville stays, Somerville.
Okay, that's a fair shout. Well, and if he doesn't,
Somerville adjacent.
Somerville or Somerville adjacent.
No, well, Schmodic, my issue with Schmodic is he a one-season wonder because the rest of his seasons have not been good. So that's why I'm not over, like, if we got him, fine, but we would pay over the odds for somebody that is actually relatively unproven in his levels of consistency. If people are annoyed at the money that we spent on Pirro and he was consistent, getting kind of high teens, 20 goal a season kind of thing, and they're annoyed with him for not doing it at Leeds, then I think he'd be crucified if he was a one-season wonder. So if he stays in the Championship but goes higher up, Schmodic. if we keep Somerville. If they both go up and we keep Somerville, I'm still going to say Somerville because I think we get a 10.
Okay.
So I
like
think
your
we
thinking.
improve on the whole.
I'm going to go with, if he gets a move to a higher up championship club, I'm going to go Jack Clark. Bit of a weird one. If he doesn't, then we're going to go even weirder. Why not Matteo Joseph? Sod it.
I was genuinely thinking, oh, that's a wild card. I might say that, and thought, no, let's go sensible. Let's not be ridiculous for everything.
I was trying to think who's a number 9 for us, and I'm like, well, Piru isn't really. Bamford, I love him, but he's not always fit, and that leaves the other guy. So let's go with the other guy.
Diplomatic. That's so diplomatic of you, saying he's not sometimes fit.
He is not sometimes fit. Kayla's just said through the door, Bamford's never fit. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. See, always listen to your wife. She clearly knows football better than you do.
Hold on. Darling, apparently you know football better than I do. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Apparently you know football better than I do.
Thank you.
There we go.
Squiggly.
And who's your surprise package for the season? Team or player? Are you okay?
Team or player? Now, can I pick 2?
If you want, but we'll say they've both got to be correct for it to count.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right.
Okay.
Surprise package. I'm gonna go, and I'm already regretting this, but I'm gonna go Piro for player, because I think he might actually, if he does hard work over the summer, he might actually, and if we get an actual number 10, and he can kind of just stay up rather than having to try and collect deep, I think he could get a hell of a lot more goals. And then if I'm talking team, I'm gonna go Portsmouth.
Portsmouth?
Yeah.
They're the team that I forgot existed, so I wouldn't say they'd get relegated.
One of my best friends is a Portsmouth supporter, so I messaged her saying, guess who we've got on the opening day of the season? So yeah, I'm going to go Portsmouth because I genuinely think that they're of a similar kind of ilk to Leeds in the fact of a little bit of a sleeping giant, and kind of has been, they did obviously worse than we did by going down to League Two. So yeah, it would be nice if they were.
They've got a bit of bouncing back to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of teams that have just milled, excuse the pun, but milled around kind of the middle of the table. It would be nice if actually somebody came up and maybe not do like an Ipswich, but was maybe teetering, potentially around the playoff places. I don't think they'd get it, but it would be nice to create a little bit more of intrigue around that middle bit of the table, so that it's not just a, these teams are getting in the top 6 kind of thing.
Just them to like be in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're my surprise team. Piro is my surprise player.
For my surprise team, I mentioned them earlier. Finished 16th last season. I think Sunderland are going to have a decent season. I think they're getting in the playoffs. I don't know if that counts as enough of a surprise, but I think like gaining 10 places in a season, that counts probably. Surprise player. Oh, I've got nothing. You know what, Charlie Crew. I think he gets a good amount of minutes this season. I think they can do like a fair bit with them. But we're talking Leeds players at the moment. Let's get on the Leeds United questions, shall we? So, first couple of these are quick fire. It will be first up a 1 to 10, and then a stay or a go. So, first up, predicted transfer window rating out of 10.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a one. 8.
I'm feeling okay about it. I'm going to go 9. Somerville, stay or go?
It's really weird, right? Because stats-wise, I should be absolutely desperate for him to stay. And the logical part of me is desperate for him to stay. But he celebrated more than with the team more than Nonto did. So I think he cares about the club more than Nonto does. But he doesn't celebrate in the same way that Rafinha did.
Yeah.
I think Rafinha genuinely had a proper soft spot for us. And, we gave him his dream via giving him the platform and taking a risk on him in the Premier League. So I think he felt incredibly grateful to work under Marcelo and everything like that. Whereas I get the feeling that Somerville is quite, obviously he's very religious, but he's very professional as well. So he knows that causing a fuss is not, it doesn't bring you good karma, doesn't, all of that. And I think he did a really good job in terms of, for his career, I think it was the best possible thing for him last year. He doesn't get that play time in a Premier League club. And all of the Premier League clubs that were actually after him last season were pretty either relegated or teetering around that relegation plug hole. So for the goals, I want him to stay, but I'm not necessarily too emotionally attached to the player. So if he goes, I think we risk him he's got 2 years, I think, left on his contract now.
Something like that, yeah.
So if he stays and he either underperforms, doesn't sign a contract extension, or he's just only got 1 year left, we're never going to be able to demand the fees, especially if we still, different conversation if we get promoted. But if we don't, if the worst was to happen and we weren't to go up this season and Somerville had stayed with no contract extension, we couldn't demand anywhere near what we're demanding now for him, because they'd just wait.
Yeah.
They'd just wait. Or he might persuade a move. I don't think he'd push and be like that, but yeah, I think he goes. And I think it's probably him and Nonto are probably the players that I'm the least sad about, even though they did contribute a fair amount. Well, Somerville definitely did. But I think in the Championship we can get enough to replace him. It just may be in more players, which then helps with rotation, which then helps with injuries, and you're not reliant on one player. It did feel very much like we were at some points Rutter FC, Somerville FC. We just kind of gave them the ball and hoped they'd do something. So I think Somerville goes.
Does that also cover Nonto? Are you thinking Nonto goes as well?
Yeah, I think Nonto goes regardless, because I just don't
think it's clicked.
No, and I don't think it's going to. I think he had enough of a chance. If you switch the positions of Dan James and Nonto in terms of the amount of goal contribute, they had us by the end of the season. I'm sure they had like a similar amount of minutes, and Dan James gave more in terms of his goal contribution, but he also gave more actually on the pitch. It's hard to kind of explain, but
yeah,
he was never petulant. He's very good at kind of shithousing, is Dan James. Like, he gets the Championship, and I think that might be because of the fact that he's British. He has grown up with
Came
it,
out of Swansea as well.
Yeah, exactly. So like, he understands it, whereas it can be quite difficult for a foreign player to come over here, play in the Premier League, and then go to the Championship and realise actually it's kind of a different beast. There's no VAR, you don't get given the soft decisions and things like that. So yeah, Nonto for me. And he doesn't go with any bad will. Don't hold anything really against him.
He's earned it back, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, it's kind of like, he doesn't go with my kind of like, oh, I'm so sad, oh, I'm going to watch your career with kind of joy and watch you kind of thing. It's like a neutral feeling. I don't necessarily feel anything towards him. I just feel like, yeah, you did well for us this season, so you can go.
This one is just a stay or go based on what you want to happen. Let's be honest, we'll have the same answer here. Archie Gray.
No, stay.
Stay. And this one, a bit of news that's literally just come out. Melier, stay or go. Apparently, and
Ooh.
I will have done a video on this yesterday from the perspective of people watching this because, Marseille are taking a look at Melier. There's no specific numbers mentioned on it at the moment, but he's got a contract till 2026. So if we are to sell him, now would be the time. I want to keep him because I like Ilan Melier. And I've always been in the position of, well, if you sell Melier, show me a goalkeeper that we can sign that'd be better. Because we thought that was Darlow. And that wasn't Darlow.
No, but surely there's an in-between. Surely there's somebody that is more experienced, is better. You sign an older goalkeeper now, they'll probably come on low wage. I know like Melio's wage won't be actually that high. I get that. But they can then go to being your backup goalkeeper in the Premier League. And then you've got 2 backup goalkeepers and you invest in a good goalkeeper next season. Because we know unless you find a rough diamond, goalkeepers are like strikers in terms of you're always going to pay top kind of dollar for them. But we need a goalkeeper that's better at doing the basics. He's not good enough for me. I know he's young, but he's played a lot of football for somebody who's, is he, what, 24 now? 23?
24, yeah.
Yeah. So for 24, he's been our number 1 goalkeeper for 4 seasons, 4.5 seasons.
4, yeah, I think so.
So there was a lot of goals
one of those where it
last year
depends
that
on the
should have,
number, I think.
yeah, and maybe a sell-on clause or something like that. Maybe if you can't make all of the money that you want now, you add in a sell-on, because he will be a good goalkeeper, but he maybe needs to go to a team that doesn't necessarily face as many shots. And I know it's a cliche, and obviously even the Leeds team have put it out on their social media, which team's going to force a rivalry this year kind of thing, which I really enjoyed. But people do step up, which mean we face more shots against us than probably the people in and around us. And if you're not good at stopping those, if you're not good at the basics, then you can be as pretty and as French sounding as you want. You're not what we need. And again, he's another one that I'm quite neutral about, because obviously last year he did make some comments about the Chelsea thing and everything. Obviously he stayed and things, but I don't know, it was just a silly time to be making comments in interviews and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm kind of neutral. If he stays, fine. If he goes, fine. Like
Something will work out in the end.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed. I think we can find a keeper that's good enough for us in the Championship to get us by, and then we'll have much more investment next season. Like the amount that will go in from Red Bull will be more in the Premier League. So yeah, I think we can afford to then invest in a better keeper next year if we get promoted.
Who do you think will be our player of the season? I'm just going to go 2 words. I'm going Georgie Rutter.
I'm going to stick with my boy. I'm going to go Dan James.
That's fair enough. To be honest, both of them, they'll work together and manage it. It's fine. They can share it. It's all good. Daniel Farke's job. Since people are already talking about sacking him, I think he'll be fine. Like I don't understand.
Well, we've both predicted that Leeds win the league.
Yeah, comfortably.
Therefore,
Daniel Farke's completely fine. Yeah, win the league on 138 points. Why not? No, 136. 136 because we'll draw away to Derby or something. They'll be really smug, and then we'll batter them 8-0 at home. How good's Aronson going to be?
He has the potential of being good, and I think we've got to allow him. He's coming back, but I think we have to welcome him with like not open arms, but kind of maybe like this. I think he'll be good. I think if Dan James gets him under his wing, I think
If
he'll
Dan
teach
James
him
teaches him to be a
how,
championship winger, yeah.
how to buy the fouls in the correct way and not buy them in the Nonto/Aronson way of trying to buy free kicks and stuff. And if those £6 of muscle come to any good, that would be useful as well.
I'll lend him donk. We'll make it 8 in no time. I'm going 20 goal involvements for him. Why not? I think he's going to have a good year. Do we get a cup run of any form?
Well, obviously we've got Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup. Oh, what if Ayling scores against us in the Carabao Cup? At Ellen Road. That'll be his first game back at Ellen Road.
You can't say those words. You can't speak it into existence.
You know that he wouldn't celebrate as well. He'd do a very muted celebration. He wouldn't celebrate. But
if that happens now,
I genuinely am
this.
concerned about Ayling against us this year, not for his defensive abilities, but for his attacking abilities.
Oh, his defensive, he's getting cooked.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Him trying to chase Aronson, James, Rutter, it's not happening for him.
No.
However, it's at the other end of the pitch where he causes the problems. Now we've said that, I think we lose 1-0 to Borough.
Yeah, and I'd be all right with that. I know, obviously this goes kind of against what I said earlier on about my point about Ten Hag and the trophies. I just want to get promoted. Like, I really, really do.
That is a trophy. It does come with a trophy.
That is true. That is true. It does come with a trophy. But I just want us to get promoted because I just think if we stay for a third year, Archie goes.
It's going to start feeling sad.
If Somerville has stayed this year, Somerville goes. Rutter maybe goes. Dan James might be out of contract by that point. I'm sure Dan James has only got like 25 or 26.
I don't know. There was some cheeky little hints on like Leeds' Twitter and stuff when they put out a video of Dan James completely unprompted, and it was like, that looks like it's saying something.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he signs a contract extension for me.
It'd be very daft if we let it run down.
Yeah.
Expires in 2026. He's got 2 years on.
Oh, so he's got 2 years left. Yeah, I would still like an extension if I'm honest. Just because he would still be a sellable asset.
Yeah.
If we didn't go up next season, like we could still sell him and get some money in and establish ourselves in the championship. So for me, I'll obviously celebrate any game and any kind of round that we get to, but if we went out in the third round of the FA Cup and the first round of the Carabao Cup, I would be all right.
It'd be fine. It wouldn't cause a problem in the slightest.
And we're not going to get silly injuries either in cup runs.
No, maybe not play Rodrigo for 15 minutes for no fucking reason. And the final Leeds United based question before we get onto wild predictions is, do we get to be happy?
Are we supporting another club?
I don't know. I mean, the entire point of this YouTube channel is let's do Leeds but good vibes. And towards the end of the season, it was like, let's do Leeds but less sad vibes, I guess. So hopefully it's nicer.
I think we get to be happy. I think August decides how happy we get to be, though. Yeah. And I know that sounds dramatic, but everybody blamed August on us not getting promoted last season. So I think it's integral to how people judge Farke and how long they give him. If we have a good August, I think he gets a lot more leeway than if we have a mixed bag or a poor August. I think the atmosphere changes, and I think we start to regain toxic Ellen Road.
I think we'll have a good transfer window, though. Sort of fix the whole August issue from last time. Be fine. Probably. And finally, we have any other wild predictions. You said in the pre-recording bit that you had something. What on earth are you? What have you cooked up?
Well, it's not necessarily wild because it's predicted that it's what's going to happen, but I think Ten Hag gets sacked for Man U before Christmas and Southgate goes in.
I
Because
kind of
of
like it.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe loves him and wants him in. So, yeah, which, let's face it, Ten Hag, it's been beautiful watching Man U football under Ten Hag. It's just been incredible.
Now just
All
imagine them
those
playing Southgate
7
ball.
nils. I know, it'd be,
It'd be
with
so
Harry
fun.
Maguire, let's face it, he's got his golden boy. Yeah, so I don't think that's necessarily like a wild take. Do you reckon Maresca lasts after Christmas for Chelsea?
I think the sack race is realistically between Maresca. I don't know about Ten Hag because apparently they're putting him on a new contract. And I kind of want to put Steve Cooper in that little conversation as well. Just because I feel like whilst he does sometimes know what he's doing, he just annoys me a bit. Like his very presence is a bit okay. But why are you here, Steve Cooper? Like, I don't be elsewhere.
Steve Cooper.
It's fine. He can handle it. He's on millions of pounds a year. He'll deal with it. I think I'm also going to say Potter to get the England job because that's just it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
I would love it if he went in early now. Just, Ivory Coast sacked their manager and they went on and won they won the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, but the players hated the manager for the Ivory Coast at the time, and at the moment, apparently, the players are a bit. There's been various interviews where not love him, but I think it's a bit like we've gotten to the round of 16. Might as well see how it goes, Be fine enough. Our side of the draw's reasonable.
Yeah.
We'll get to a semi-final, lose to Austria, and then is it Austria? Yeah, Austria's on that side. We'll get to a semi-final, lose to Austria, and then pretend everything's fine. And then
But at
he'll
least if we
resign
lost to
or something.
Austria, it might put Max Weber's price up.
Oh. So that's my wild prediction now. Max Weber will score the winning goal in the Euros final. A header from a corner. That's what we're going with.
Oh God! So it's no
Max
longer
Weber's winning the
Portugal.
Euros. It's not Portugal anymore. No, sorry, they're both valid. They're different questions. I'm allowed different answers. But those are our predictions for the season ahead. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments down below any of the nuts predictions that you might have. How stupid do you think we are? Don't tell us. We know.
Be nice in the comments.
Please, we've sometimes we have conversations about how mean you can get in the comments, and it's genuinely hurtful. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Max Weber is scoring that winner.
I'll see you tomorrow at 12.
Not yet.
Shh, then.
Not yet.
Okay.
That goes in the next bit.
Oh, for God's sake.
That goes in the bit where I just make it you for a moment. Because I'm
Don't
going to
just
put
make
that.
it me.
I'm going to put that in the Melier
putting
video.
me- Okay.
And then, yeah, because why would they be seeing you tomorrow at 12 when they've just seen you for like 54 minutes?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.